The teacher as a model for behavior. So as a teacher, it is your job to demonstrate effective anger management techniques. So when working with a pupil who is angry or upset, try and model the correct behavior. Simple things like teaching kids to use I statements in describing their feelings is important. And by making I statements yourself, you can show your learners that you are responsible for your own feelings and actions, just as they are responsible for their own feelings and actions. So you are an example of how to manage anger. Let your students know as well that adults do sometimes get angry, and maybe give them a few examples of how you deal with your anger. Then being a good listener is important. So when a learner is angry, it is important to model that listening behavior. So when someone in your class is frustrated, you see the anger coming up, give them a space, a venue to express themselves and to articulate what they are really upset about. Feeling that they are being heard seems to allow that anger in the kids to cool down. And always try and make eye contact and show your students that you understand what they're saying. So nodding of your head, saying, I hear. Even if you don't agree with them, as we said, it's still very important that they feel heard and understood. And this gives them that empowered feeling that they actually have control of their emotions and they can do something about it. Then to acknowledge that anger is a perfectly normal and healthy emotion if it is expressed appropriately. So you can acknowledge the students' feelings and letting them know that they are valid and that you understand. So students should know that being angry is okay, but there are appropriate ways to deal with these feelings. And that you can emphasize even that anger can be expressed, but in a calm and a respectful manner. Then to recognize the differences between anger and aggression. So although the two are similar, they can occur together. Anger is an emotion that may result from frustration, low self-esteem, disappointment, stress. We've talked about it. Whereas aggression is a negative act intended to hurt someone or something. So when you have negative consequences, it should focus on the aggression and not necessarily the anger. So stay positive and stay focused on the behavior and not the student. So in this way, the student gets a clear message that it is not personal and that you're separating the deed, that aggression, the yelling and the crying and the kicking and the screaming, from the person themselves. So you're separating the deed from the doer. And that really strengthens the teacher-student relationship and also makes students more comfortable to actually share with you what it is that they were really feeling, what it is that was making them so angry. Then try to prevent conditions in the classroom that are likely to induce frustration and anger. So for example, be sure that the tasks and the expectations are appropriate for the student's age and abilities. Then be proactive. We've learned about the proactive strategies. Talk to students about ways that they can handle their frustration. Once a problem surfaces, it is more difficult for students to consider better ways of handling those feelings if you haven't spoken about it before. And this is where that video that I am providing also is a good tool to reference. And then recognize that students who are prone to become angry often fail to take the perspectives of others into consideration. So by helping them realize these differences, you can address them with your student and offer a different point of view. And this we see a lot. So kind of helping your students see the other person's perspective. Then try not to take the student's anger personally. Very important. So remember that they are trying to communicate with you, but they are struggling to do it in the appropriate way. And then and that very often it's something that it should not be taken personally. It's within the child, something that they are struggling with, and you are there. You are the teacher. You are with them most time of the day, and that the anger that they are showing isn't necessarily towards you, but towards how they are feeling on the inside, that uncontrollable inability to express how they are truly feeling. So don't take their anger personal. Then compliment the child when they demonstrate problem solving or anger management techniques. So as you see the students reacting in appropriate manners, you tell them that was great anger management. And it is important to acknowledge the good behaviors as well as the bad. So to note when you see a student, takes a deep breath or walks away or takes in the perspective of someone else, to note these little behaviors and compliment them. All right, so to make students aware that they cannot control everything that's happening around them, but they can control how they feel and what it is that triggers their anger, and then take the appropriate steps to adjust their responses to these triggers are in their control. So remind students that anger is a normal emotion. We all feel it. It isn't bad. It's just that we have to know how to control it, how to manage it a little bit better so that it doesn't become this big firework explosion. And you can remind them about the anger firework, how that cooling bucket of water can be thrown over the firework before it erupts, and also looking at the ABCDE of anger management to calm them down. A for aware, B for breathe, C for counting, D for distance, and E for expressing emotions. I have added some additional resources here that you can play for the students if they are on break time, or you can send out to the parents or to the home environment. These are some songs and some books that are really helpful for anger management in children. Then thank you so much for giving me the time to present this workshop to you, and congratulations on sitting through it and completing it. I really do hope that these anger management techniques help within your classroom space, and that you can even take them from the classroom and use them in other settings as well. Adapt them to the areas and the venues that you are in. So good luck with working with the angry child.